Hello, my friends. How are you doing? Glad to be back here with you guys. Today, we're going to check out this very special video. Now, a few of you guys have suggested this video to me. Tom Brokaw explains Canada to Americans. And I'm American, so I need to hear this for sure. I didn't even know this existed. But let's go. You know, I think this is very important because to learn this type of stuff, because Canada is its own independent country. You know, the stuff that Donald Trump is trying to force on Canada isn't good. You know, me personally, I don't like bullies. I hate bullies. So the things that he's doing, I don't agree with. But this here, to watch this video, I think this is going to help give some context about the relationship between Canada and America. Maybe not maybe there's more to this video. There's more things to learn, but this is probably a good starting point. So let's go check this out. And thank you guys for suggesting this to me.
This is the Peace Arch, standing near the westernmost edge of the U.S.-Canadian border, 30 miles south of the Olympic City, between Blaine and Washington State, and Surrey, British Columbia. This was dedicated in 1921 to commemorate the treaty that ended the War of 1812 between the U.S. and Great Britain. Remember, Canada was a British colony. That was a long time ago, but the inscription on the arch sums up the relationship. May these gates never be closed. We share more than a long border, of course. No dotted line can divide our joint stewardship of a treasure of natural riches. From the Atlantic to the Pacific, and back again. Shorelines, wild rivers, and Great Lakes, vast forest and grasslands. Precious ores buried in majestic mountains, and wildlife everywhere.
American Eagles.
From sea
Baldy.
to shining sea. Canada and the United States share another unique quality. They're immigrant nations, destinations for people around the world who long for political freedoms, economic opportunity, and a long tradition of compassion. Our two nations have the largest trading relationship in the world. $1.5 billion transacted every day. The two-way.
And Trump is doing this nonsense. We have the biggest trading relationship in the world. And he's doing this, trying to be greedy, and man, this is ridiculous.
World. $1.5 billion transacted every day. The two-way trade at the Ambassador Bridge between Detroit and Windsor alone equals all American exports to Japan. And we're so comfortable as neighbors. 200 million people cross the common border every year. Canada, some may be surprised to learn, is America's largest oil supplier, and the United States is Canada's #1 tourist destination. In a snapshot, Canada is a huge country, second largest in the world next to Russia, but its population is only about a tenth the size of the United States, 34 million, split into 10 provinces and 3 territories. 90% of Canadians live within 100 miles of the U.S. border, residing in world-class cities, thriving farms and smaller towns, with good reason. Life in the Canadian North.
Hold on, 90% of Canadians live within 100 miles of the U.S. border. Wow, see, I wish it was in HD so I could read the stuff, man. I can't even see. British Columbia. What's that next to British Columbia? Alberta? I can't even read. I can't read that.
90% of Canadians live within 100 miles of the U.S. border, residing in world-class cities, thriving farms and smaller towns, with good reason. Life in the Canadian North is only for the hardy. It is remote and oh so cold. The coldest day ever recorded in North America occurred in 1947 in Snag, Yukon, minus 81 degrees, not including wind chill.
Jesse the Sponge.
Canadians are so generous, they share with us their brightest stars in music, comedy, acting, sports, and journalism. And if you're in a fight, you want the Canadians on your side. They were in World War II before we were. They were there on D-Day, in the air and on the beaches. They've been America's most reliable partners in Afghanistan, and it's been costly and painful. Now, when Canada loses a warrior in that distant land, the nation pauses and honors the fallen along what is called the Highway of Heroes outside of Toronto. Even their diplomats have been there for us. In 1980, a year before the conclusion of the Iranian hostage crisis, 6 American embassy personnel would escape from Iran in an operation organized by Canadian Ambassador Ken Taylor.
The United States is thanking Canada for rescuing those 6 American diplomats from Iran.
Taylor hid the Americans after the U.S. Embassy was stormed, created fake Canadian passports, then flew the Americans out of Tehran with a bogus cover story. The 6 in disguise as a mod-looking Hollywood film crew, allegedly researching a prospective sci-fi flick. Now, all these years later, Taylor has admitted he was formerly working for the CIA. And if the Iranians had discovered he was an American spy, he would have been in big, big trouble.
Might have been killed.
In our darkest hours, Canada has been with us. On September 11th, as the United States shut down its airspace, Canada instituted Operation Yellow Ribbon, landing 239 U.S.-bound flights with 33,000 passengers at 17 different Canadian airports. And then, amid the uncertainty that followed, entire communities housed and fed those thousands of passengers for days afterward.
Bro, this is sad.
In the long history of sovereign neighbors, there never has been a relationship as close, productive, and peaceful as the U.S. and Canada. We share a continent and so much more.
Did he say sovereign? Hold on. Did he say sovereign neighbors? Sovereign neighbors.
In the long history of sovereign neighbors, there never has been a relationship as close, productive, and peaceful as the U.S. and Canada. We share a continent and so much more. Speaking before the Canadian Parliament, President Kennedy summarized the relationship this way.
Geography has made us neighbors. History has made us friends. Economics has made us partners. And necessity has made us allies.
Those whom nature hath so joined together, said Kennedy, let no man put asunder.
Of course, there are some distinct differences in the culture. The American fans at these games will be unfurling their stars and stripes at every opportunity and chanting USA, USA. The Canadian Prime Minister had to go before Parliament yesterday and urge Canadians to engage in what he called an uncharacteristic outburst of patriotism, saying, don't be afraid to wave those flags. We'll apologize to the world for our immodesty later. So that's a big difference, Al.
He hopes he has to do it very often. You know what struck me in that piece among all of the items? There are more people in California than there are in all of Canada.
Well, and Canada has a stronger and more sound economy at this point as well. That's a distinctive difference between the two.
Perfectly put. Thank you, Tom. See you during the week.
Thank you, Tom, man. I'm glad I seen this video, but it's sad of what's taking place today. The relationships that were built in the past, being there for each other in the wars, having each other's backs. It's like, I'm going to tell you the truth. Every time, like, even growing up as I reflect, when I used to think of Canada and Canadians, I didn't never think like they were much different than us. For me, we're a family. You know what I mean? And Donald Trump is doing something to disrupt that family bond, that family, that friend. I mean, come on. 200 million people across the border every year. Probably more now. This is a long time ago. Trade partners, business. We're there for each other. We create jobs for each other's countries. come on, dude. This is ridiculous, man. What's going on today? Now, as I really think about it, when showing the snowbirds not going back to America but America's like their second home. You know what I mean? Like that's just, come on. I never been to Canada, but I never had a bad experience with a Canadian person either. You know, so this is ridiculous. I don't like this at all. I'm gonna be real with you guys. I don't like it. I don't like what's taking place. Hopefully, we can get back to this and not let this dictator, Donald Trump, come in here and ruin what's been put in place for many, many years, many, many decades. What was that, 1920 something, when they had the gates? They said, let these gates never be closed. Come on, guys, man, this is crazy. Listen, I don't have any problem with anyone. I love you guys. I love you guys. This here, the history shows. Man, we need to do something about this Donald Trump guy, for real. But let me know what you thought about this video, and I will catch you in the next one.